There was concerns when exterior forces enter a foreign country. Will it impact that country's sovereignty? How do you ensure troops stick to their remit? This is something Mozambique will be tackling when SADC forces, which include South African troops, head there later this year. They'll help fight the insurgency in the province of Cabo Delgado and try expel them from territory they now control. So let's speak to Zenaida Machado from Human Rights Watch if this move is good for those affected by the extremist violence. A very good evening to you, Zenaida. Is this a good move by SADC forces? Is it going to help?
Thank you so much, Jane. I'm not sure if it's a good move because the decision itself lacks detail. So it's very difficult to assess whether the decision taken by SADC leaders to deploy a regional force to Mozambique is good or not for the civilians there and the over 700,000 displaced people. Because we don't know what exactly this force is going to do, what is their mandate, what exactly is their role vis-a-vis the role of the Mozambican government. And what I even find more problematic is that in their statement, they say this force is going there to fight terrorism. It doesn't mention, for example, the need to protect civilians and the need to ensure that the Mozambicans who are being displaced and affected by this conflict have their human rights protected.
I mean, there's always a problem, isn't there, when an exterior force goes into a country. We've seen that in Haiti. We've seen it in so many different places in Africa as well. I mean, how do you oversee the way these forces operate and that they stick to their remit, whatever that is at the moment? Some sort of transparency.
And that's why it's important for us to understand and have the exact wording of this mandate, because it's true that we will be able to later monitor the activities of both the Mozambican security forces and any regional force that comes to Mozambique to operate in conjunction with the security forces. You will know that by now we have been documented so many abuses by the security forces. The Mozambican government has not yet even started investigating the abuses we have been documenting and exposing. Now, if another regional force comes without transparency, without us understanding what exactly they are doing in Mozambique, you can imagine what kind of chaos is there. Before SADC sends any regional force to Mozambique, it needs to ensure that Mozambique as a state has the ability to investigate human rights abuses by both their forces and any regional forces, and that after investigating, those that are involved in abuses are exemplarily punished.
Because we've got so many factors at play here, haven't we? We've got the Islamists up in the north. We've got, as you say, the government forces which have been committing atrocities. The government has been bringing in people also from South Africa who've been accused of committing atrocities. And now we've got these troops, and we don't know how they're going to work. I mean, it's a potential powder keg, isn't it?
It is. When you have a country like Mozambique where impunity has been the standard practice in most type of crimes, including or human rights abuses, it is a potential recipe for crisis and chaos.
All right. Tell us a little bit more about the humanitarian situation, what you're seeing at the moment. We know that so many people are fleeing. We know that the UN has warned Tanzania not to send people back. How are we when we look at what's going on there?
We are talking as we speak of over 700,000 people that have been displaced. And these people that have been displaced are lacking almost everything. The UN has said that it has been unable to fundraise to support the people in need in Cabo Delgado. But most of the displaced people are not even staying in camps where they can receive the aid that they need. They are staying in host families. We have, for example, spoken to people who are accommodating over 50 people in their own houses in Pemba. And we are talking a massive displacement of people that keeps on increasing. For example, the latest attack in Palma in March made almost over 30,000 people displaced. And we are now reaching numbers of almost 60,000 people that have been displaced from Palma. These are huge numbers. And these people are lacking food, they are lacking psychological support, which is much needed at this stage. These are women, mostly women. 75% of these group numbers are women and children who have witnessed all type of trauma, including their own children being killed and kidnapped. They need support. We are also talking about children who lost their parents. They haven't seen their parents. They don't know where their parents are. And they're finding all types of difficulties from adapting to the host communities where they are, to the trauma that they are facing every day by reminding the violence that they witness on the way, first in their towns when they were attacked, and after when they were on their way to safety in Pemba, Shiudo, Montepuez, because unfortunately most of those people are reaching safety on their own because for some reason the Mozambican security forces and the authorities are struggling to help everybody in areas where fighting is ongoing.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more about what you're hearing about the fighting in that area, and do you have an idea of how many people are still trapped, what the situation is?
If we talk about Palma, we estimate that about 20,000, between 10 people still trapped there. And the big problem we have with Palma is that humanitarian agents, most of them, the most experienced ones, have been unable to reach the area due to insecurity. They can't find an agreement with the Mozambican security forces on what type of security is needed for them to reach. So we don't know what exactly they're experiencing there. We have been speaking to some people that are in Kitunda, which was a resettlement area that has now become some sort of IDP informal camp. And their stories they're telling us are not good. They lack food because no aid has reached them. The sanitation is bad. There is no water. A man told me the other day that the place stinks. It smells bad. There's all type of risk of disease, including cholera and malaria. And on top of that, there is the fear of fighting, because it's true that no attack has taken place in Kitunda at this stage or so far, but they keep receiving people from other areas where fighting is still ongoing, despite the Mozambican government claiming in early April that it had retaken control of Palma.
Oh, desperate situation. Zenaida Machado, thank you very much for your time.